Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting. And we're going to take a look at the late pick 4 on the Saturday in the 8th race. But we want to first focus in at Churchill Downs on the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf. It's a nice race for 3-year-olds at a mile and a 16th on the turf. Nice big field, and I didn't see a real clear standout in here. I don't know about you, Jim. Who'd you like?
No, we're going to do the pick 4 in a few minutes, and I'm going to spread in this race. I like the inside horse Sir Dudley Diggs for Maker and Ramsey simply because he came out of the Triple Crown at Canada, so he won the Queen's Plate. That Triple Crown in Canada is run on 3 different surfaces, and he gets back to the turf here. He did run well the last leg of the Triple Crown up there at Woodbine, the Breeders. I don't know if that's part of the Triple Crown, or maybe that's just the last $500,000 race they've got.
No, I think
August.
it is.
But
yeah.
Sir Dudley Diggs is classy and came to hand very well for Maker up there, and was a surprise in the Queen's Plate 15-1. So I think with a name recognition, he might be the favorite. But I don't think that he's a standout here. I like Blackout, who comes off an allowance win at Belmont. Third North American start for Cassie, and Giroux is 31% for Cassie. Surgical Strike ran well in 2 Grade 1s, including the Secretary at Arlington, losing to Deauville and Beach Patrol, and those horses would be 2-5 in here. And the only effort at Churchill was pretty good as well. One Mean Man, the 7, also comes out of Secretariat. Bonder at the 8 is my pick, and I like a lightly raced 3-year-old here with a big closing kick. I think there's enough speed on the inside to set it up for him. Nice buyer progression, goes from the 70s to the 80s and up to 90 in the last one. So it goes 78, 83, 90. This is the third off a layoff, including a race at Kentucky Downs. He didn't win, but probably put some bottom into him. So stretching out from 6.5 to a mile and a 16th. I like a lot of those things. I like Ian Wilkes, the third off a layoff, and a stretch out, and he's drawn well on the outside in the 8 hole. Tis a Runner, the 10, is also a big closer for Cassie, and he needs to work out a trip. But I think there's a shot that this race comes down to who closes the best on the outside. Wagering-wise, I would take Bonder at the 8 on top of those horses that I mentioned. The 2, Sir Dudley Diggs, Blackout the 3, Surgical Strike the 5, One Mean Man the 7, and Tis a Runner the 10. If you did a trifecta wheel with those 5 horses, it'd be $20 for $1.
I'm going to go to the 6 Scholar Athlete. I think this will be a nice price. And this horse ran in the Queen's Plate and ran pretty well. And I remember they were really talking this horse up off an allowance win. And I think they think there's a lot of upside there. And I just have such great respect for Graham Motion when he ships into a spot like this that I'm going to try to go price shopping here and take a shot with Scholar Athlete. Horse looks like he's training great. Speed figures are light. That's the concern, that just maybe he's just not fast enough. But I think I'll get a good price, so I'm going to try that. And then I'm going to use a base for the race, a 5-horse exacta box, and I'll list them in the order of preference. So if you want to leave one out and save some money on the ticket, you can. Scholar Athletes are Dudley Diggs, Blackout, Surgical Strike, and One Mean Man. So that would be a 5-horse box for $1, $20. And I think there's a decent chance you can get a couple of decent prices in the top 2 slots. Now for the pick 4, to be honest, would like to use multiple horses in every leg, and the ticket would just get too expensive to do that. So I ended up singling a horse in the 2nd leg. It starts in the 8th with a maiden race. There's a couple of first-time starters, Wicked Czar for Asmussen, Phi Beta Express for Steve Margolis, and both of them have horses for a couple of their top clients. So 3 in the 12 I want to use. Beachtown Benny picking up Corey Lannery, thought was interesting. Len Star for Zito, and Crack On, who didn't run well in his only dirt start, but took a little money. There might be a little something there. So I'm going to use 3, 12, 11, 7, 10. I'm going to single Spite Song, the Tom Amos Claim, in the 2nd leg. And then I'm going to use the first 4 horses I mentioned, Scholar Athletes or Dudley Diggs, Blackout, and Surgical Strike in the Commonwealth Turf. And the only reason I'm not going deeper is just to keep the ticket down, because I want to use 6 horses in the last race. It was just half the field. The 1, 4, 6, 12, 10, 8 in the last leg. And I guess in order, the 12 is the one I like the best, Midnight's Fantasy. So it would be 12, 1, 6, 4, 10, 8 in order of preference. So I think that ends up a $60 ticket for 50 cents, singling the 2 in the second leg. How about you?
Yeah, I have a $60 ticket as well, and I'm right with you in that when you start constructing a pick 4 ticket, you run out of money really quickly.
Yeah.
Not as quickly as you do with a pick 6 with Breeders' Cup weekend, but the pick 4 still gets a little expensive. So I took a stand in the first leg, and I like not knowing about the first time starters. I'm not sure that Asmussen's horse is his top, at the top of his list. The works are not that great. Wicked Czar, the 12 horse that you liked, hung outside. I'm not crazy about, so I'm going to take a stand with Lenstar, the 7 for Nick Zito. He drew a couple of tough fields. The first race out, he gets beat by 6 lengths by a horse that comes back and wins, and then the last time out, in the maiden special weight at Keeneland at 7 furlongs, Warriors Club ran second in that race, and that's the horse that's owned by the Churchill Downs Racing Club, and came back and won the $300,000 stakes at Churchill next out. So I think he's just drawn a really tough couple fields, and his buyer's in the 60s. If he steps that up to 70, I think that's good enough to win this. So I'm going to take a stand with Lenstar, with a caveat that if Dupree, the 13, gets in for Le Peru, I would have to use him, Ron Moquette, and this horse also has 3 buyers in the 60s. So that would be my 2 here, thinking that Dupree doesn't get in, single the 7. If you have to use 13, it's going to cost you $120 instead of 60, and you have to cut down later on. I would use the 1, 2, 6, 9 in the next leg, which basically is Spite Song, the one that you like. Tom Amos is 25% first off the claim. Grand Shores, the 6. Crewman, the 1, and Twirling Cinnamon, the 9, in that order. But Giroux and Brad Cox, 35%. So anytime Giroux gets up for Brad Cox, you have to look at that.
That's the one I'm scared of in that race.
Yeah, Turf to Dirt, 23%. You've always got to put Brad Cox in at Churchill, and that 35% number just jumps right out at you. So if you have to cut back to 2 there, I would certainly use your horse, Spite Song, and Twirling Cinnamon, the 9, simply because of those statistics. And then in the Commonwealth Turf we talked about, I go 6 deep there with all the horses I talked about, with Sir Dudley Diggs, 2, Blackout, the 3, Surgical Strike, the 5, One Me Man, the 7, Bondurant, the 8, and Tis a Runner, the 10. And then 5 deep in the last leg with 2 Putt, the 4, Set the Trap, 6, the 7, Heliodoro, 0 for 14, but he's going to win sometime. He fits on numbers. He picks up Giroux. After Hours, the 8, best race at this level was 2 back at Churchill, and Adar, the 11, just including because of Le Peru. So I'm going to go 5 deep there. I have really no strong opinion at all there. Maybe Set the Trap if I had to pick one, but 4, 6, 7, 8, 11. So that's a $60 ticket, signaling the 7 in the first leg.
Best of luck with your wagers on the Saturday card at Churchill or wherever you are playing through the Keeneland simulcasting at Red Mile here in the Lexington market or the spots around the state. And, of course, always through KeenelandSelect.com. This is the In the Money Podcast.